And everybody, my hair is still wet. It's not oily, it's just wet. I guess there's too much moisture in the atmosphere. Yeah, rain's supposed to be coming. But y'all get on in here. It was let's just say it was an itchy start to a morning. I didn't know I had anything wool that would itch me like that, and it was horrible. So get on in here, y'all. Get on in here. Got to get the chat up. Whew. Yawn, yawn. I need a box of paper towels in here. See what that is. That's a paper towel. Okay. Anyway, come on in. Yesterday, there was a comment on one of our videos, and it was from a lady who was total in depression. And I remember being depressed twice in my life. And it's not fun. It's not fun. Shabbat Shalom. Yeah, that is tonight. It's pull the calendar up. There is at oasis.org, Pastor Tim Sheets Church. They're having a big event tonight, and it's tomorrow too. And Dutch will be there, and it's called Completion or something. Anyway, I can't wait to listen to that tonight. It's just some great services, some great speakers. So I'm looking forward to that. So get on in here, everybody. Yesterday, I posted on our YouTube community page. And if y'all haven't, if you're watching us and you're on Facebook, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's The Fly Lady. And I share morning devotionals with you sometimes. If I watch a video and it touches my heart, I'll share that. I shared James Butler's YouTube page, YouTube channel last night, and I was crying. He was talking about I don't have time, and this young man, 34 years old, he was recommended by one of James's employees. James is sort of local to me. If I needed somebody to pump my septic tank, I'd probably call him because his YouTube channel is quite interesting. And the other day he had some guy that tried to defraud him out of $100,000, his insurance company. And then he wanted James and his engineer figured out what had happened, and the guy had fiddled with a pressure pump and almost blew his house apart. And but he did this video 2 days ago. I didn't see it till last night. Yesterday afternoon, I was talking about the thing that hurts me the most when people say they don't have time. They allow their perfectionism to get in the way of so much stuff, in the way of life. It gets in the way. And James had this young man, 34 years old, who could go through before they hire somebody, they got to be able to work with the other people. They have 3 crews, and James has failed at a lot of things. He quit school as a kid, and but he's gone back to college and he got his GED. I remember, I'm gonna be all over the place because it reminds me of so much stuff. But I remember pushing Ben to get his GED because he dropped out of school and he was smart. And he dropped out of school and he was in jail, in our county jail. And I said, why don't you just get your GED? Get it. And so a guy I went to school with, Gilbert Parnell, helped him get his GED, helped him. And Gilbert was a quarterback. He had number 1 on his jersey. You know, simple funny things you remember from high school. But Ben got his GED, and then in 2018, when his mother died, he was off learning how to be a peer counselor in prison. And because he had his GED, he had the ability to do that, to step up and be a peer counselor. And I'd always said when he went to prison, he went to the big prison in Tennessee, and it just it changed his life. He became Christian and he started helping people, and it was just a wonderful thing. Well, James Butler has a septic tank company, and he does inspections for houses and all kinds of things, wells and pressure pumps and just you name it, they do it. And they're out of Weaverville, and they work all over Western North Carolina. And James had a TikTok channel, and now he's on YouTube, and he doesn't draw a salary. He makes whatever he makes off of YouTube, and a lot of it goes back into the company. But everybody liked this guy. Everybody liked him. And he worked well with the other teams. And he did everything right. The only problem was he couldn't read and comprehend, and he couldn't do math. And you need to be able to do math if you're going to work on septic tanks and stuff like that, and read directions. And James's wife went to school to be a public school teacher, and so he went through the third part of his evaluation, and he didn't do well, and he just got up and walked out. At which point, this man's wife came and was trying to build him up. And James's wife said, let me see if I can help him. And they were willing to put him on payroll, making what he had made at his other job, which he was being cheated, but making a real 40 hours a week job, and teach him. James's wife was going to teach him all the stuff he needed to know. And he said, I'm too old to learn. And when I posted it on YouTube, I just said, I'm crying. I'm crying. You got to stop putting yourself down saying you can't do things. I don't have time. I don't have time to do that. I got to do this other thing. Take a few minutes and watch that video. Because I'm here to help you. Patty's here to help you. Justin's here to help you. Jack and Kathy, Rebecca, we're here to help you in some way, some form, to help you get past that point where you just give up. You just give up. I knew I was smart. I didn't know how smart, but I knew I was smart, and I knew I could do anything I put my mind to do. I didn't have a college degree, but I was willing to do and go where God sent me. Willing. I wasn't like Jonah. and refused to go to Nineveh. And then they threw him off a ship because they were being tossed to and fro. And he got swallowed by a whale. And after 3 days, he was spit out on the shore. He didn't want to do something. Sometimes the I don't want us come because of our pride, of our inability to say, you know, I may not know how to do that, but I know somebody that can help me. And when you're depressed, and my sister wrote a wonderful book, Out of the Darkness, Coming Through Depression. I've been depressed twice in my life. Twice. Just zombified. You know, they were joking the other day on October the 4th when the public service thing came over our phones. They said, you might turn into a zombie. I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared at all. But I've been a zombie. I've sat in a chair, unable to move, unable to function. But you know what? I got through it. I wanted help. And you know, God sent me help. He sent me a friend from church who said, you know, Marla, I got to go to the doctor in Memphis, and it was 2 hours away. She said, will you ride with me down there? And I said, I'll be glad to. I'd help somebody else, but I didn't know how to help myself. So I got in the car with her, went to Memphis. And while I was sitting in this doctor's office with her, the lady came out and said, hey, could you go over this survey for me? I said, yeah, I'll be happy to take. She wanted me to do it. Come to find out, everything on that survey was for me. And my friend had, God rest her soul, she died last year. My friend was taking me to the doctor. Because she knew I wouldn't go on my own. So she took me to the doctor. And they said that they wanted to put me in the hospital. And I said, I can't do that. I can't go to the hospital. I got a family to take care of. I got back home and I told Justin's dad, my husband, that they wanted to check me in the hospital because of depression. And he said, well, if you check yourself into the hospital, don't bother coming home. No, he didn't say hospital. He said loony bin. That's what he said. So all it takes is just one little, the straw that broke the camel's back. And I wanted more. So I packed my bags and turned around and went right back to Memphis and checked myself into the hospital that night. I did it. Best decision I ever made. That's when I found out about getting dressed to lace up shoes, fixing my hair and face. I had to go through all of that to be here. I had to climb my way out of depression, to fight for me. And when I'm listening to James tell this story, he's a storyteller. He's an amazing storyteller. Sometimes he says ugly words, so just realize. And he He wanted to help him. That young 34-year-old man wanted to help him to be able to read and write because that's what it takes. You know, our children went through the lockdowns and they didn't learn a whole lot. You know, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I had no clue. I knew I could do a lot of things. But everything I went through prepared me to be here right now. As they said in Esther, I read Esther the other night. For such a time as this. For such a time as this. Prepared me to be what you needed to give you the tools that you need to not give up. There's 111 people in here right now. That's my number. We hit 112,000 on YouTube yesterday sometime. Life's too short, y'all, to give up. Don't give up on your house. Stop looking at the whole thing and just start looking at one flat surface at a time. Go shine your sink. Fix your hair. Fix your face. If you haven't done it today, go fix your hair and face. Swish and swipe your bathroom. Put a load of laundry in the wash machine. Somebody's at my door. I hope my front door's locked. Let me send Robert a text. I know it's Jimmy. I think Robert's in the house. He heard him. Anyway, we can't give up. We can't give up because all the trials and tribulations and the fires we have to go through, which reminds me of a testimonial I heard last night. Of a mother whose house was on fire and she climbed up a gutter spout, drain spout, on her house to save her baby. And because she did, her hands got burned really bad and she lost the use of her hands. And her little baby grew up and was ashamed of her mother. She never knew the story. She never knew the story. You know, sometimes our wounds are visible. Other times they're not. And it's this young man who left an old order Amish community 20 years ago, and now he preaches the gospel and drives a truck. And he said somebody told that little girl who was ashamed of her mother, would never let her hug her or anything, how she got burned, saving that child's life. The trials and tribulations we go through prepare us for our calling. We don't know what it is. But I'm just so thankful that I have been put on this earth right now. We are living in biblical times. I guess every time has been a part of the Bible, but I read Revelations last night. I didn't go to bed till real late because I wanted to read the whole book of Revelations in one setting. You know, if you made a movie about the book of Revelation, it would be the scariest thing ever. I mean, the scariest thing ever. But guess what? We do not have to be afraid. Because if we die with Jesus in our heart, we're going to go from that point to being with him. We have nothing to be afraid of. Nothing. I want you to have the same peace that I have. I didn't have a clue what my calling was till I got my home in order. And then it just got laid out, just laid right out for me. God handed it to me in the request to help somebody. And if I only ever help just one person, I've done what God put me here to do. I used to be afraid that if I wrote one more book, he'd take me home. I'm not afraid anymore, y'all. I'm not afraid anymore. Because I'm here to help you find your purpose. My sister's here to write books. I write books. The dog wants out. This morning, after the show was over, the Roomba was acting up, and I thought Robert was going to drop kick it off the back deck. He just doesn't like things not to work the way they're supposed to, and he punched the button 15 times and it wouldn't start. So you know what I did? For $40, I got on eBay. I found the exact same model. It didn't have the base station, but it had it had the unit, and it didn't look like it'd been used hardly any. And you know what? I ordered it. So if he drop kicks it up, which would make him happy, he'd have to go pick up the mess, but it would make him happy if he could just drop kick it off the back deck sometime. But he's the one that bought the thing in the beginning. The first one he bought in 2019, that April. That was the last time I had any kind of illness. And he bought it. And then we got another one about 4 years ago, a year later, because we didn't know how easy they were to work on. This one's been around a while, so I think I better get it back up. Catherine says, don't dwell on end times. Just be thankful to God through his son. That's true. You never know. You got to live every day as if it were the last. Live every day that way. And you'll be glad you did one day. End every phone call with I love you. Rebecca taught me that. And Justin and I try to beat each other to the punch. I thank Robert every day for living in this woods that we live in and being a godly husband. We have discussions about the Bible. We discussed the prodigal son last night. And he had, and Robert is a wordsmith. And he said that he thought prodigal was the father. And Robert has a college degree in theology. And he was just going by the meaning of the word. Well, he said, look it up. So I looked it up last night, and he's already in the bed, and I looked it up. And I couldn't find where it meant what he thought it meant. And this morning I told him last night I couldn't find it. And he looked up, he said, I was wrong. You were right. He doesn't usually say that. Not that he wouldn't, but he's usually always right. But I've been studying hard. Study to show thyself approved. I don't know where that is in the Bible. But if you get a chance this weekend, read Revelation. If they turned it into a movie, it would blow your mind. Well, y'all better get off of here. The doorbell rung again. I love you all. Be good, kind, and sweet. Don't give up. Don't give up. Go listen to my community page. James Butler. He works with sewage. I love you all. 2 Timothy 2:15. Thank you all so much. I love you all. Be good, kind, and sweet. Be good to yourself by not giving up on yourself. Be kind to others by not giving up on them. And try to help somebody along the way. And let this joy that's in here that comes from God show the world who you are, a child of the Most High, the only living God in the universe. I'll see you later.